Well, guys, we're back for another episode, and I honestly did not see this episode happening, to be quite honest. I I was just so discouraged. So much happened and so little happened all at the same time. I can say though, I was proven right, but we'll get into that.
Blackness, that black power, that black pushing them to identify with black culture.
If you're new here, I'm your host, Brittany Monet of BlackInClassic podcast, where we talk all things pop culture and politics. So this week, I'm just jumping right in. I'm not even going to waste y'all time. I got y'all for a good time, not a long time. I promise. Last episode was almost an hour. That was too much for me. Felt like I had so much to say, right? This episode's going to be a little deconstructed, if you will. I talked to you guys about the Democratic propaganda, their playbook, the things that they do, how well they do it. And then this week, they proved me right. If you don't know, I'm not going to show you the clip. If you don't know, Megan Thee Stallion, who is a rapper, performed at some rally of another for Kamala Harris, where she went out and did, gosh, I don't even know the name of the song. I know the song, I just can't think of the name of it. But she performed the song. She was in like a blue suit, go figure, crop top, like button up shirt. Wasn't too much ass shaking, but when I saw the clip, it just let me know how much the Democrats are willing to play in our face and act as if we're just too stupid, too gullible, too naive to see through their BS. And to be quite honest, the majority of us are too stupid, too gullible, and too naive to see through the BS. Simply because a lot of us, we like to go off of what the likes say. So if you click on a video, if you go to your favorite blog site, whether that's the Shade Room, Hollywood Unlocked, whatever, and you see all of the likes and you see your friend sharing it and you see the comments, you're like, see, this is a good thing because look, everyone else likes it. They think it's a good thing, so I think it's a good thing. And that's so dangerous for us because a lot of people are sheep. A lot of people are just following the masses. A lot of people are afraid to think for themselves. A lot of people are afraid to ask the tough questions. They simply just want to go along to get along, and it's not okay. So, coming into this episode, I will not lie, I was very, very annoyed, very, very frustrated because it felt as though I'm constantly fighting against the grain to say, y'all, this is not okay. Okay? This is not good, right? Like, we are in such a bad place as a community, and we just keep falling for the same shit. And anytime someone speaks out against it, you're almost called anti black because it's like, but this is us, this is our culture. Excuse me? This is not my culture. I promise you, this is not my culture. This is not what I grew up on. This is not what I grew up watching. This is not what I grew up experiencing. So, no, this is not my culture. I will be honest with you. When I saw that clip, I said, see, this is the same type of, I almost want to say, man made fandom that is going on that people fall victim to. All of this shit is constructed. All of this shit is created and sold to us as if it is our culture. No one can define our culture but us. Like, it got to come from us to be our culture. But when it's created and then sold to us, then we say, oh, but they're one of us, so it's our culture. No, but who put them here? Y'all be so quick to say the others are invited to the cookout, and I look at some of us and be like, who invited you here? Who said you was one of us? Just because you look like us don't mean you one of us. What's the saying? All all skin folk ain't kinfolk? Something like that. Y'all know what I'm saying. That is so true in today's age because a lot of these, especially musical artists, there's a room full of people who are creating marketing plans and campaigns and ads and images, right? To sell to us to say, see, I told you that's your culture. No, that's not my culture. That's not my culture. I remember growing up and we had the Cosby Show, we had Fresh Prince of Bel Air, we had, oh my God, I feel like UPN had all of the great shows, the Parkers, One on One, Half and Half. We had all of these very, very like empowering black sitcoms, you know, and they all had their own different dynamics, right? Like you have Fresh Prince of Bel Air, where you have Will's character who was living in certain conditions and then he moved to other conditions, and you had different dynamics, right? Then you had The Cosby Show, where you had, you know, two influential parents and they're raising their kids in New York. Like you had shows that had different dynamics. You had Living Single, you had Girlfriends, you had different shows with different dynamics, but the overall theme was uplifting. Now we have Zeus Network, we have our Sexy Reds, we have Love and Hip Hop, and the overall theme is not uplifting. But leave it to y'all to tell me it's our culture. The fuck it is. That's not my culture. And people will say, well, it's a reflection of what's going on right now. It's really not. It's really not. It's not. It's just what y'all want to like because sheep follow other sheep. So if all the sheep are running behind this one thing, if you're not, again, like I said, willing to think for yourself, you're just going to go with the other sheep and just say, well, that's our culture. That's what's going on. It's a whole lot of other shit going on. You know? It's a whole lot of other shit going on. So I fail to say that's my culture because it just doesn't represent me. It doesn't represent what I do in my day to day. When has fuck my baby dad ever been a culture for us? The black man being out of the home to raise his children, that's our culture. See how fucked up that sounds when you actually think about what you're saying? You have Megan Thee Stallion on a presidential forum, platform, saying, I'm a hot girl, I do hot shit. What is it? Spend his income on my outfit. Um, and it was so vulgar. A lot of it was, she couldn't really say all of the lyrics. And I'm just like, hmm. But then we have Rhapsody, who I'm not trying to pin people against people. I'm talking about image, right? If you want to represent us in a positive and uplifting way, there's Rhapsody, there's Tierra Whack, there's different people that you could have got up there to do the same thing. Rap. Perform. But guess what they would have did? It would have been a different image. It would have been a different message. But what you want to do is appeal to the same sickness that I spoke about last episode. You want to appeal to that same sickness, but disguise it as, I'm giving you a cure. We're so tapped in what's going on in the black community. Are you? Because a lot of these black children can't fucking read or write. But they know them lyrics though, right? They can sing it, right? They can do the TikTok dances, but put a book in front of them and the motherfucker can't read. Excuse my language. I told you I did not do this episode because I was very upset. Can't read a book. Flunking out of school, failing out of school. Oh, but they know them drill rappers though. They know how to operate a gun. But somehow we keep screaming, this is our culture. Is it though? I remember when Spike Lee was making movies. They were provocative. They were exploring, again, different messages, but in a way that felt very authentic, very uplifting, in a way that felt like it actually reflected our society. This new shit doesn't reflect our society. It reflects the one, as I keep saying, that was created. It was created, love. And somehow I'll say I'll put myself in it. I'm not going to alienate myself. We fall victim to it every single time. And then I was listening to today, actually, this is Saturday while I'm recording, I was listening to the Joe Budden podcast, and they were talking about they're talking about Megan Thee Stallion, and then they were talking about Sexy Red, and they were like, oh, it's just not that serious. Sometimes it's just fun. And I'm like, but it is that serious. I'm not saying we can't have music that is fun. I'm not saying we can't have music that people just want to party to. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I challenge the same people to make a cultural figure, a cultural icon out of the people who have a different and positive message. That they won't do. So when you have the people who have a different image and a different message that might uplift the Black community, that might make you say, I should go do X, Y, and Z, that person is not going to get any type of limelight. They're not going to be in no type of mainstream media. They're not going to get the looks. They're not going to get the exposure. But then the one that is a little bit detrimental, or a lot of it, that's the people that we're going to throw in your face every single chance we can. And every single time you see them, you buy into it that this is what is popular. No, this is just what they're paying to sit in your face. They're paying for you to see this person every single time you open your phone. And we, again, are too stupid, dumb, and naive to realize this is just something that they're selling us. It's not an actual reality. The reality is our kids, they can't read, they can't write, they can't do math. Our reality is they're killing each other, they're not going to school, they're going to jail, they're going to juvenile, they're dying. Our reality is a lot of people are struggling. I'm talking like poor, poverty, struggling. The middle class, that's coming obsolete. That's what I'm talking about. That's our culture. That's our reality. But let y'all tell it. Our reality is what we see on new Zeus Network. What we see on, what is it, Baddies, whatever the fuck this shit is called. What we see on Love and Hip Hop. All of a sudden that becomes our reality because it's popular, because if we can get 1 million people to tune into it, well then, okay, we just did that in Atlanta, now let's go do it in New York. Okay, we did that in New York, now let's go do it in Miami. Okay, we did it in Miami, let's go do it in LA. And y'all fall for it every single time and say, well, that's our culture, that's what we do now. Now, instead of us having loving friendships and loving each other and talking things out and communicating with each other, no. We want to get together and we make sure we fight, we make sure we scrap, we make sure we throw drinks in each other's faces, because that's what our culture is, right? Instead of loving our partner, instead of being there for our partner, instead of having private relationship, instead of building a healthy foundation. No. We want to expose each other. We want to make sure that we can get to social media and tell our business. We want to make sure that we can cheat on our partner. We want to make sure that, we have a kid and 2 months later we're not together anymore. We want to make sure that we get pregnant and divorced all in the same week. That's what we want to do, because that's our culture. I don't know. But y'all telling me, that's what y'all telling me. That's our culture. Or am I being too extreme? I'm probably being too extreme, right? Because it would be anti-black of me to challenge you on that. Or would it be pro-Black, with me wanting better for my people in a way that is powerful, in a way that I can have pride, in a way that I can love every single bit of me and see that be reflected, right? We always want to talk about representation, but then we let that be what represents us. But I don't know, because y'all told me that's our culture. And I struggle with that. I struggle with that deeply and sincerely, because there's no way you're telling me that's our culture. There's no way you're telling me drill music is our culture. And then you know what they'll say? But this is really happening. This really happening in the hood. Duh, dummy. Like, yes, it's really happening. But really get to the root of why it is happening. It's happening because this whole thing is not by coincidence. It's not by coincidence that young Black boys need their father in the home. But if all fathers are out of the home, running from being a part of the home, running from being a part of the home life because of all of the different factors that we see online, in our media, of course our outcome is not going to be the best. Of course it's not. But then again, that's our culture, I guess. So in totality, right, the whole thing is fucked up. And a lot of people say, well, it's not that serious. It's just fun. Megan Thee Stallion was just performing for Kamala. It was just a performance. It gets the people going. Is that all it takes? It's concerning if that's all it takes. If all it takes is us belittling each other, treating each other in really terrible, nasty ways, allowing each other to call each other derogatory terms. If that's all it takes to get y'all going and to call that culture, well, then again, like I said, we are in a fucked up place, because for some reason that just don't do it for me. And I, like I said, refuse to call that my culture. But then again, I could just be off in that. I accept if I am off in that. But one thing's for sure. One thing's for sure. No one has yet to make an argument that I agree with and why that's our culture. Because every single time you give me a reason, I'm going to ask you, but why? When did that start? Well, okay, when that started, why did that start? Okay, when that started, why did that start? A lot of people are afraid, again, to think for themselves, dig a little deeper, and really get to the facts. The facts is they tore us apart piece by piece by piece by piece, and then put us back together how they wanted us to be. So now we can be trapped in this little bitty box of bullshit. And every so often they feed us scraps of the bullshit and we just eat it up. Eat it the fuck up. Look at that. Our rap superstar Megan Thee Stallion is performing for Kamala Harris while she's talking about what she gonna do on the dick and how she gonna spend his money, and we eat it up because, right, exactly, that's our culture. See, and I keep taking pauses because I want y'all to think for yourselves. Just think. That's it. Just take a second. You don't have to be a sheep. You don't have to follow what the masses is doing. Just think. That's it. But a lot of people are, again, afraid to think because they're so conditioned to believe whatever is said and sold. And that's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate because it's not fair to you. It's not fair to you to even limit yourself like that. You know what your lineage is. You know where you come from. You know the people who paved the way to get you here. So for you to even reduce yourself to the imagery and the message of Sexy Red. And I'm not putting this on Sexy Red because once she fades away, another's going to pop up in her place. And it's a bunch of girls doing the same thing she does because they assume, well, that's just the way. We should be half naked, twerking and shaking our booty and having everything exposed. We should do that because exactly, that's our culture. What? Why wouldn't we? That's our culture. Half naked. Yeah, that's our culture. Mm-hmm. Of course. That's what? That's the black culture. Oh my God, that's so crazy to think about it not being our culture. Somehow, and see, I'm not afraid to ask these questions because I listen to the people that came before us. I listen to the Angela Davises of the world, the Huey P. Newtons, the Fred Hamptons, the Nina Simones. I listened to them. I took in their messages, right? The Toni Morrisons, like I listened to what they had to say. I went out and seeked those messages, the Malcolm X. I went out and did that because something just wasn't making sense to me why we had such a vast difference from when we had that very strong black family where it could have been obviously nothing was perfect, nothing will ever be perfect, but there's a vast difference between when you had that strong family and when women respected themselves a little bit more to now. It's okay. The difference is like extreme. You know what I mean? And I'll take a quick second because I do want to say this, right? When I created this podcast, when I created this whole Black and Classic thing, Black and Classic literally was derived on me getting that understanding of like, we are classic. We are iconic. Without Black, there is nothing, right? Like, without us as a people, there just isn't anything. Like, we will forever be classic, be here, be foundational. And that I ooze that, right? Like that is me through and through. I love being Black. Like I couldn't think of like anything else to be. I love this shit for real. So when I see what I love so much being made a mockery, and you telling me that, oh no, this is your culture. Fuck no. You can't sell me that. I don't care who it is and what it looked like. It could look like me. You can't sell me that because that is not my culture. I know what my culture is. I know what my people about. We can't come from the Black Panther Party and loving each other and wanting to reconnect each other and wanting to fight for our rights and wanting to make sure that we are strong and we're a community and we had like our own Black Wall Street and we had pride in going to school and people were fighting to go to school, fighting to get an education. We can't come from that to being this. We can't. And because it's a machine, it's a machine running this, telling us that's our culture. No, I cannot go for it. I'm sorry. I cannot go for it. And that's why this episode was very tough for me because I was like, it's a lot going on. And I just told y'all they have a propaganda playbook. The Dems do it better than anybody. And every single time we fall for it. I saw a clip of a woman. If I can find it, I'll throw it in here. I saw a clip of a woman saying, I could care less where, like, basically she could care less about anything Kamala did, who she had performed, who was shaking ass, what they was wearing, because regardless, she gonna vote because she Black. And I said, well, that's dumb as fuck. It's dumb. It's dumb. Because again, you reduce yourself to just being like, oh, well, you look like me, so you're for me. Someone who looks like you can do way worse damage if, again, you don't think for yourself. And I'm glad the person that she was sitting down with gave her pushback and and he said it. He said, I understand, I love the music. I love the turn up. Because again, I'm not saying the person was bad. It just did not make sense. And like the guy said, to his point, there is a time and a place. There's a certain level of decorum. Like, that was not the time nor the place, but they know, and I keep repeating it, they know how stupid, dumb, and naive we are. So if they give us something that looks like they know us, we love it. Oh, we love it. We eat it up. Ooh, how good. And I can't go for it. I'm sorry. I can't. I don't care. Call me what you want. I can't go for it. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I feel like the older I get, the more I'm like, how do y'all keep falling for this? How? Like, they are blatantly telling you and showing you how little they think of you. They mock you to your face. Like, they literally say, okay, we know what's going on in the inner cities. We know how bad it is. But we're going to keep pumping the same shit to you and tell you that's what your culture is. And it's not. It's not. We lost our culture a long fucking time ago. This new shit is man-made. It's created. It's a machine. It's an algorithm. I don't know. Give it whatever name you want to give it. But it's not our culture. It's not. It's not. A lot of these things are created or they have roots in despair. They have roots in poverty. They have roots in dysfunction. They have roots in just everything that is insidious and bad that any community could deal with. That's what a lot of this stuff is created in, and they know that. And once the roots are there and they're in there, they're like, you know what? That's the plant we're gonna grow. We're gonna grow a bunch of that. No. The one that's rooted in love, the one that's rooted in intelligence, the one that's rooted in knowledge. No, thank you. We don't need that there. The same thing is true for the people who have, and I hate to go into my conspiracy bag, but I feel like I need like a conspiracy counter. Like, I just always have to say it. Anytime there's someone who has a relatively positive, uplifting, loving, forward thinking message, and they can't control, that's a key. The one that they can't control, somehow they just always seem to die, get shot, have an accident. So it's really, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, like, you can't say too much because, yeah, if we can't control you, we got to let you go because you can't distort what they believe us, right? What they believe to be their culture. So if we believe this to be our culture and then someone comes in and says, hey guys, that might not be your culture. You should do it this, and this way. You gotta go. Pipe down. Because we don't need no one to look and say, oh wait, what he doing over there? What he talking about over there? No, thank you. We don't need none of that. And it sucks to say, but it just happens. I think I would not lie, a lot of my revelation started with my love for Tupac, right? Like, I love Tupac down. And then when I learned about his parents, then I started studying his parents. And then I went into who his parents followed it, and then it just snowballed into this whole big old other thing. That's also why my love for Nipsey Hussle is so deep, because it started with him and his message, and then it turned me to look into different people in California. Ironically, Tupac was, living in California, not from, he was from Baltimore, but it was just something where I was like, yeah, there's something here. And it just has to be said, y'all. This is not our culture. I really want y'all to think a little bit deeper. Just a little bit deeper. Just take one thing and think about it a little bit deeper. And we haven't seen nothing yet because we still have what, 4 more months, 3 more months. So we haven't seen nothing yet. We have not seen a goddamn thing yet. It's finna get wild. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's about to get wild. They're going to pull out all of the tricks because they don't want Trump in office. And I understand that. I completely understand that. As much as I understand and respect who Trump is as a person, president, that's not where I am for him. You know what I mean? Businessman, um, even someone who is, a figure, a public figure. I totally understand that. President, I don't know too much about that. But it's about to get wild. And I told y'all last episode, the propaganda is crazy, okay? They got a playbook for this shit, and we are only on the first page of chapter 1. That's it. We are on the first page of chapter 1. It's about to get wild. And if you don't wake up, and I don't mean woke as in like this woke agenda, but like if you don't just wake your own mind up and start to think for yourself, you good as done. You good as done, because this is the time. This is such a pivotal moment where we have to open our eyes and say, well, that don't make too much sense. Even if you think everyone around you is telling you it makes sense, you gonna have the inkling like, that don't make too much sense, and just run with that. I promise you, just run with that idea, because when we don't, we're just gonna get sicker. Like we are just going to get sicker, and it sucks because we get sick and then rely on the people that made us sick to give us the cure. Why would they give us a cure? They're gonna give us placebos. You know what a placebo is? A placebo is some shit that you take that don't do nothing, but because someone told you it's a cure or it's medicine, you trick yourself into believing you're getting well. We're sick as fuck right now, and they gave us Kamala. It's a placebo. They could have went and got anyone. I understand she was VP. It probably made the most sense in such a short time. We already know what was going on. They been knew what was going on. They couldn't find someone else. I think I just recently, I think it might have been the day, it might have been Friday, that the Democrats announced that they officially nominated Kamala Harris as the Democratic candidacy. So fine, but I think that's because they were like, wait a minute, they're really riding for her. Shit, we gonna just take it. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna take this momentum and do what we can with it. Which, of course, this is a business. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do. So I understand that. I just believe if the response wasn't what it was, they would have moved on past her. They would have been moved past her. If the response wasn't what it was. Now, do I think they should have moved past her? Yes, because I don't know if she might get the people's vote, but she's not going to get the electoral college vote. I just believe that. But that's neither here nor there. I really didn't want to come in and talk politics. I really wanted to talk to y'all about defining and really understanding what Black culture is. I struggle again with saying Black culture is what y'all say it is. I don't believe that. I don't believe Black culture to be anything about drill music. I don't care what's going on in the hood, because if you tell me what's going on in the hood, like, oh, but these young boys are really, shooting and killing them. Okay, but why? Oh, because, okay, but why? Oh, but why? I'm gonna keep reiterating that point because y'all need to do that yourselves. Okay? Y'all need to do that yourselves. Don't just tell me some shit and then just say because that's just how it is. It's not. I won't lie to you. It's not, you know. When we had going back to our media, when we had Spike Lee making movies and we had John Singleton, there was such a poetic artfulness to it, right? Where yes, you had Boys in the Hood and it did depict a certain type of story, but it was done in the way that wasn't so that wasn't a mockery, if you will, right? Like it just wasn't a mockery. Now we have, and before I say this person's name, I do like this person, but I think again you get a little swept up into the machine. So then we have Tyler Perry. And Tyler Perry, when he first started, I felt like his plays, they were so like new age Spike Lee, very, very reminiscent of like actual black culture that I and a lot of people identify with. That's why he blew up so big. Let's be honest. He blew up so big because he had the grandmamas and the aunties going out to see his work, to see his plays, because it felt so nostalgic and so authentic and what our culture actually was. Now this new shit he owned, why did he have them carry the dead body out of the casket? What was the point in that? Then mama took all her clothes off at the funeral. What was the point in that? Then it's always, the image is always either the woman is so broken down and you know, hurt and abused, or the man is the abused. Like there's never a sort of like kumbaya moment, you know what I mean? Like in his plays, a lot of the plays that I remember, and I used to go out when he would come to Connecticut, I would go to see Tyler Perry plays faithfully. I feel like every time he came to Connecticut, actually, I can say every time he came to Connecticut, I did see his plays. So I remember where, like, yes, there was some dysfunction, and we know about all of, you know, the secrets and things that go on, but there was always this ending moment of like things just kind of working themselves out and coming together and being good. And now it's like he goes so far to the point where it's like that's not our culture. And I feel like a lot of people, maybe it's just me, but I know a lot of Tyler Perry fans where it's like just come back. Just come back to what we loved you for. It doesn't have to be Medea, but just come back to like that authentic feel. And I don't think he can, because again, with the machine, you're going to create these mockeries of like his latest movie would have been really great if we didn't get those mockery moments. Like the dichotomy of the wealthy black family with the poor black family, and like I feel like he could have really pulled into the story of the husband and why the husband was that way. We never really got the full story. He just random lines of like I killed my daddy or my mama did. Like we never got that full. Like there was so many moments where I'm like you could have really broken this down, but instead you played a lot on the mockery pieces. And why? What was the point? You know what I mean? Like what was the actual point? There isn't one besides making a mockery and calling it our culture. Calling it some shit that we supposed to love and ride for? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm sorry. I cannot get behind it. Like again, speaking of media, I'm really just chit chatting with y'all because I really want to like drive this point home. T.I.'s son, I'm pretty sure Damani, he's a rapper. He's amazing. Oh, Damani is amazing. No one listens to his music. I mean, people listen, but like, why is he not mainstream? And T.I. is his daddy. Like, you would assume that people would listen to him, but they don't, because that's not what the machine. I keep saying the machine because I'm trying to reference this not being something that we are defining as our culture. This is something someone is telling us is our culture. So the machine is telling us, no, 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 that's not your culture. Your culture are the young dudes in the hood that's talking about killing each other, the Julio Fulios of the world. That's your culture, not Damani. No, Damani's talking way too much positive shit. Like that's not your culture. And I do want to say, speaking of music, although the Drake and the Kendrick rap beef was such an iconic moment in time, I do believe that it just be the little ripples, little ripples. His next project is going to be so, how do I want to articulate this? It's going to be so important because he speaks the same shit I speak, right? His imagery is the same shit I talk about and love, but a lot of people didn't listen to it because they were telling us the wave was Drake. The wave was the toxicity, and I love Drake. I ain't gonna lie to you. I love me some Drake. You know what I'm saying? But that type of vibe and feeling was what they wanted us to vibe with. They didn't want us to vibe with Kendrick, but then Kendrick came out and showed like, and that did give me hope. I swear it gave me so much hope. That's why I still listen to Not Like Us to this day, because I was like, oh, I hope y'all just start listening to Kendrick, because that might be a ripple turns to a wave where people start being like, oh, okay, like we actually don't have to listen to that. Like there are rappers who are talking about a whole bunch of other shit, and it's not all shoot 'em up, bang bang, right? Like it's not all of that, and I want us to take back defining our culture and not leave it up to likes, algorithms, and propaganda to sell us what our culture is. Like, can't no algorithm tell me what it is to be black. Can't no music label, can't no music exec tell me what it is to be black. I live it. Every single day I wake up and breathe, I live it. So you can't tell me what it is to be black. So you can't tell me no Sexy Red like person, because I don't want to put this on Sexy Red, because I like Sexy Red as a person, because again, yeah, she does represent one facet of us. But once you take that facet and turn it into a caricature to then mock us, no. And that's the part that y'all aren't getting. They are mocking you to your face. Like, it's so sad. It really makes me like to my core, it makes me sad. And I don't think people get it because again, everyone wants to be a sheep. Everyone wants to be a sheep. That's why all of the all of the girls, right? This is a whole nother side note, right? But again, they want to tell us what our culture is. So naturally, black women are voluptuous. We got curves. We got hips and dips, right? We got booty, we got boobs, we got lips. We have that naturally. Then you have the machine comes in, and God knows I love this woman I'm about to say. If you know me, you know I love this woman. The machine creates an image, creates a figure, gives us Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian comes in and does everything that a black woman does naturally. And then the black woman goes out and says, well, that's our culture, but you know what? Now we're going to say that that defines us. So now we're going to go out and get BBLs because now it's got to be larger than life. We're going to go out and get bigger boobs because now it has to be larger than life. we're going to go out and get the wigs, the clip-ins, the extensions, the K-tips, the everything else in between, because now it has to be larger than life. We're gonna go and get our lips done, the fillers, the face balancing. We're gonna go and get it all because now it has to be larger than life. So now we're sold a dream and told it's our culture, right? So now all the girls run out and get BBL because that's what sheep do. Sheep see something and sheep follow. So now we go out and do all of that. But that's our culture. That's what we do. We like to look good. We like to take bikini pics. We like to be naked, twerking and shaking our ass on Instagram. That's our culture, guys. Come on. Y'all know this. Then the machine says, well, guess what? The Kardashians are getting skinny. Everyone is on Ozempic. Skinny is back in style. So now the girls are deflating their ass. They're dissolving. They're dissolving their fillers because, well, now it's cool to be healthy and now it's cool to drink your green juices and drink your matcha. So that's our culture, guys, right? Well, now the sheep are going and doing that. They're going and doing the Pilates. They're going and going to like cycle classes and things like that. That's our culture, guys, right? Like, no. Our culture is being who the fuck we want to be, right? Like, we used to be the trendsetters. We didn't wait for a machine to develop an image and then us just go and follow it, but then say, well, that's our culture. It's not our fucking culture. Our culture is what we define. We define it. Like, we define it. When we were wearing long acrylic fingernails, that was our culture. When it was bump and curls, when it was French twist, when it was, the 90 dudes, the bobs and all that was our culture. When it was the gold jewelry, the big bamboos, that was our culture. That wasn't something that someone sold us and or tried to define. That was something that we did, and you saw this person do it, that person do it around your way, and you went do it. Then you went somewhere else and they did it a little bit different, but it all felt reminiscent and it all felt familiar because that was our culture. Our culture wasn't something that they sold us and told us. It wasn't something that mocked us. It was something that was our culture. But somehow we keep allowing them to sell us something that mocks us and say, that's your culture, y'all. Come on, this is our culture. Are you kidding me? It's our culture. It's sick. It's fucked up. It's absolutely terrible. And I don't know. Maybe I'm completely off. Maybe I'm completely crazy. But I personally will not go for it anymore. After I seen Megan up there, I said, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm good. I'm completely good. Like, I'm good on this. I'm all the way straight. I don't even like it's so hard for me to listen to a lot of music nowadays because I just hear how manufactured it is, right? Like I just hear how artificial it is. A lot of the people that I listen to, I would say are still they haven't gotten into that machine. They haven't gotten swept up into the machine. So it doesn't sound as artificial. It doesn't sound as manufactured. It doesn't sound too much like it's mocking. It sounds like, they're making music for the purpose of it being art. It's not meant to be something that is mocking in any way. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of it now, a lot of music now feels very mocky. You know what I mean? It's some music where it's like I barely can listen to it because it's so vulgar, and I'm just like, why is this? I feel like, wait, am I a prude? But then I'm like, no, because like I used to listen to Little Kim. Like I love Little Kim down. But Little Kim gave me versatility where it still felt very artful. Now it's just so vulgar and bad. Just like straight up and down bad. Like, babe, you're not even rapping for real. I listen to, because again, I think for myself. So I heard, I love the Joe Budden podcast, right? I heard on the Joe Budden podcast, they were like, oh, Ice Spice album. Oh no, I didn't like it. I won't listen to it. So I'm like, I'm at the gym. Let me put it on. Chef's Kiss, such a good album. It's a good album because I understood that it's kind of reminiscent of that, which I don't know if she did this on purpose because I know she loves Nicki Minaj, but when Nicki Minaj gave us Playtime is Over, Beam Me Up Scotty, I can't think of the other one, but when she gave us those mixtapes, it was such a like, it just felt so good, right? And that is what I would say is like, it felt like our culture because it felt very Foxy Brown, right? Of that time. It felt very Little Kim of its time. It feels very Nicki Minaj of its time. It feels very Ice Spice of its time, where it's that girly hip hop, right? Where you can put it on and you can get ready to go to work or get ready to go to the gym, or have it on with your girls in the car driving around. Like it's that type of vibe, and but it's carried through different decades and eras. Again, you had the Foxy, you had the Nicki, you had the Kim, you have Ice Spice, where it just feels very fun and playful, and it's not like, there's some things where I'm like, girl, what are we talking about? She loves talking about farts and stuff. Like, it's still some stuff that feels a little manufactured, but I I I hear the lineage. I hear the lineage. And it's some people where it's like, I don't, I hate to keep saying Sexy Red, but there are other artists, but Sexy Red is just one of the bigger ones where I don't quite hear the lineage. I also heard it with Lotto. I heard the lineage of like, okay, I can kind of see where you fit into that cultural moment as a black culture. I can feel that. I felt the same thing with Cardi when she first came out, not this new shit. When she first came out, I felt her, the lineage of her being here. It made sense to me. When you had Megan Thee Stallion. Oh, I was a big Megan fan when she first, I keep saying first, but when she first came out, again, I felt the lineage, I felt the progression, and it was like, okay, like, it felt like the torch was passed to you, right? The baton was passed to you. You picked it up and ran from it. But again, when people get caught up in the machine, you start to let them define what you already know to be your culture. You don't have to, you we don't have to be lied to so much that we just start to believe it's truth. Okay, so with all that being said, I don't want to keep y'all too long, but I just really want y'all to start thinking just a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. Think a little bit more. Question things a lot more. Okay, think a little bit more, but ask a lot more questions and question what we're being told, why we're being told it, and then you'll start to join my side. You start to join my side. You'll start to understand a lot of this is BS. It gets a little bit scary because you start to see the numbers, but you're just like, hey, one person at a time. We don't need the masses to start flooding behind us. We don't, you know what I mean? We don't want to just swing the pendulum back to the other side. Just gradually, let's start to get to the other side because we are going too fucking far. Too far. And at some point, it's got to drop. But just gradually, we want to get back to the other side. Yeah, I mean, that's all I got for y'all. I want us to get to a place where we start to define our culture and we don't let the machine, the people, in these boardrooms and these marketing and advertising offices tell us what our culture is when we should be defining our own fucking culture. Not the likes that you see on Instagram, not the amount of comments that you see. I don't care, like I told you before, I don't care how many people agree with you. That's just another fucking sheep. You point out to me, oh, but this person thinks this. Okay, so you showed me another sheep. I know it's a lot of y'all. I'm not dumb. I know it's a lot of sheep that believe what the fuck is told to them. You are one of them. Show me something else. And with that being said, because I'm going to get mad all over again. With that being said, thank you guys so much for joining me. If you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. But like I always say, yep, you already know. If you want to debate, call your granny up, sit on the phone, and debate with her. Because I just don't exactly give a fuck. And with that being said, stay dangerous. Stay prayed up for real, because it's gonna get crazy. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.